There is a forgotten Korean morning drink that melts visceral fat without supplements, and your doctor has never mentioned it. Don't look at your diet. Don't look at your exercise routine. Look at whether your cells have lost the ability to recognize when they are full of energy. There is a metabolic switch inside every cell called AMPK. When it is working, your body burns fat. When it shuts off, which happens in most people, sometime after age 50, your cells stop sending the signal to clear stored energy. Visceral fat accumulates around your organs, invisible to your scale, dangerous regardless of your BMI. This is why people who eat carefully and exercise regularly still walk into a diagnosis at 60. The fat that was killing them was never the fat they could see. By the end of this video, you will know exactly why this Korean morning drink melts visceral fat. You'll know what the human trial data actually confirms, and a precise morning protocol you can start tomorrow, including the mistakes that could make it completely ineffective or dangerous if you are over 55 and on common medications. Most people will never hear this from their doctor because the compound cannot be patented. When the research came out, no pharmaceutical company had a reason to fund the trials that would move it into Western treatment guidelines. The most aggressively marketed AMPK activators in Western wellness culture right now are MCT oil and chlorogenic acid added to morning coffee. Not one of those compounds has been confirmed to activate AMPK in a placebo-controlled human trial, measuring it directly in the bloodstream. The compound this video is about has. In this video, I'm going to show you what Omija is, where it comes from, and why it is the cornerstone of a Korean morning ritual that activates AMPK through a mechanism entirely distinct from anything in Western wellness culture right now. The exact biological mechanisms, 3 named pathways, operating at the cellular level that explain how this drink produces measurable metabolic changes. The specific research, institutions, participant counts, durations, and confirmed outcomes with PMIDs, so you can verify every claim yourself. An exact morning protocol, 3 components, specific doses, preparation methods, and timing that you can begin tomorrow. The 4 mistakes that destroy the effectiveness of this protocol, including one that the highest traffic wellness channels are actively promoting right now without knowing the risk it creates for people over 55 on common medications, and who should consult their doctor first, because this protocol involves compounds with real interactions with real medications. And knowing those boundaries is what separates credible health information from content that could hurt someone. Mechanism 1. AMPK, the master metabolic switch. Think of AMPK as the master breaker in the electrical panel of your metabolism. When it is switched on, cells stop storing energy and start burning it. Glucose uptake increases. Fatty acid oxidation increases. The body shifts from storing energy into burning energy. Visceral fat. The fat packed around your liver, pancreas, and intestines is metabolically active tissue that responds to AMPK activation. This is not subcutaneous fat, the kind you can pinch. Visceral fat releases inflammatory cytokines continuously. It surrounds the organs doing the most critical metabolic work in your body. AMPK activation is one of the primary signals that tells the body to clear it. The compound that activates this switch in the Omija berry is a family of lignans schisandrin and gomycin that improve insulin sensitivity and postprandial glucose regulation through the AMPK pathway. In the Jeonbuk National University trial, PMID 35956-334 researchers at Jeonbuk National University. Woosuk University ran a 12-week trial in which neither the participants nor the researchers knew who was getting the real compound, placebo-controlled, on an Omija and soybean mixture. Measurable AMPK activation in the bloodstream was confirmed. Researchers confirmed this was a real effect, not chance. This is the first placebo-controlled human trial in the published literature to confirm direct measurable AMPK activation in the bloodstream from a traditional Korean drink compound, not a synthetic drug, not a novel supplement, a traditional Korean berry that has been prepared as a morning drink in Korean households for 1,000 years. Mechanism 2. GLUT4 and GLUT2. Upregulation, the glucose transport system. Think of your cells as having two types of loading docks for glucose. GLUT4 docks are found in skeletal muscle when activated. They pull glucose out of the bloodstream and into muscle cells where it can be burned for energy. GLUT2 docks are found in the liver. They regulate how much glucose the liver takes up and how much it releases back into circulation. When both systems are functioning properly, blood glucose is managed efficiently. When they are impaired as they are in insulin resistance, glucose stays elevated in the bloodstream and gets routed into fat storage instead. Black ginseng, the triple steamed form of Korean ginseng, which produces a novel ginsenoside profile absent from red ginseng, has been studied for its ability to upregulate GLUT4 in skeletal muscle and GLUT2 in the liver simultaneously, while also activating AMPK in liver tissue. This is animal evidence. It establishes the mechanistic background for why the Korean morning ritual compounds interact with glucose transport at multiple sites. The triple steaming process matters. It transforms ginsenoside profiles in ways that have not been replicated by any other preparation method, producing compounds the liver processes differently than standard red ginseng extracts. Mechanism 3. The sestrin. 2-pathway AMPK activation from the upstream. This mechanism is distinct from everything as coffee protocol activates, and it operates upstream. Chlorogenic acid works through mitochondrial complex 1. This pathway works through amino acid stress sensors. Protopanaxidiol, a ginsenoside found in Korean ginseng, activates AMPK through the sestrin 2/GCN2/PERK pathway, published at PMID 30952841. Think of sestrin 2 as a cellular stress monitor that sits above the AMPK switch in the signaling hierarchy. When sestrin 2 detects amino acid stress, a signal that the cell needs to enter conservation and repair mode, it activates the GCN2 and PERK stress sensors, which cascade down to AMPK activation. This is working through a completely separate pathway of the direct AMPK activation produced by Omija lignans. Two separate upstream inputs converging on the same metabolic switch. This is in vitro evidence cell line research, establishing the molecular mechanism, and is cited as mechanistic background, not a human outcome claim. This is a 3-component morning protocol. All 3 components are taken in sequence within a 30-minute window after waking. I will tell you exactly what to take together and what to separate. Component 1. Omija tea, omijatse. 8 to 10 grams dried berries, steeped 10 to 15 minutes in water at 175 degrees Fahrenheit, 80 degrees Celsius. Do not use boiling water. The lignans responsible for AMPK activation, schisandrin and gomycin, are heat-sensitive. Water above 185 degrees Fahrenheit, 85 degrees Celsius, begins to degrade them. Use water that has been brought to a boil and allowed to rest for 2 to 3 minutes. Steep 8 to 10 grams of dried Omija berries for 10 to 15 minutes. The resulting tea will be tart, slightly sweet, with a faint pine note. The 5 flavors of Omija are not a marketing claim. They are real and distinct. Sourcing. Dried Omija berries are available at H-Mart, Korean grocery stores, and online. Look for whole dried berries with deep red-purple coloration. Avoid pre-ground powders unless the preparation temperature is explicitly managed. Most instant Omija powder products use hot water instructions that exceed the temperature threshold. Timing. Drink Omija tea first, in a fasted state before your morning meal. This maximizes absorption of the lignans before the digestive competition from food fats and proteins begins. Do not add honey or sugar until the tea has cooled to drinking temperature. Adding sweetener to hot Omija tea is fine, but adding it while the tea is still above 175 degrees Fahrenheit does not meaningfully affect the lignans. This is a quality of experience note, not a chemical one. Component 2. Korean hawthorn tea, sansecha, sansecha. 5 grams dried hawthorn berries, or 1 pre-prepared tea bag, steeped 8 minutes in water at 175 degrees Fahrenheit, 80 degrees Celsius. Korean hawthorn sansa contains oligomeric procyanidins, the same compound class studied in 4,000 patients across reviewed RCTs for cardiovascular protection. Published at PMID 21384315, the pooled data showed systolic blood pressure reduction of 6.65 millimeters of mercury versus placebo. For the 55-plus demographic, watching this video, most of whom are on at least one cardiovascular medication, that is a clinically meaningful number. Hawthorn does not activate AMPK directly. It is included in this protocol for its cardiovascular support role, which complements the metabolic work of Omija. Take hawthorn tea with or immediately after your morning meal. This is different from Omija hawthorn's procyanidins, absorb well with food. Important: if you are on digoxin or any cardiac glycoside, do not add hawthorn to your protocol without speaking to your physician first. This is a hard contraindication. Hawthorn and digoxin have a confirmed interaction that can affect cardiac glycoside levels. This is not a theoretical concern. It must be addressed with your prescribing physician before you begin. Component 3. Boricha, Borica. Roasted barley tea throughout the morning, cold or warm, as your primary hydration. Boricha is caffeine-free. For viewers who are caffeine sensitive, who have been told to reduce caffeine, or who are over 55 and find that morning caffeine disrupts sleep architecture, this is your morning drink vehicle. Boricha has been studied in a human RCT published at PMID 30396006, confirming cholesterol reduction and Akkermansia muciniphila support a keystone gut microbiome species associated with metabolic health. I want to be precise here. Boricha does not activate AMPK directly. Do not use that framing. What Boricha provides is a caffeine-free hydration base that supports gut microbiome health and cholesterol management, a metabolically relevant background function, while keeping you out of the caffeine dependence loop that makes morning energy management more complicated for this demographic. Preparation: simmer 30 to 40 grams of roasted barley in 1 liter of water for 20 minutes. Strain, drink warm or refrigerate, and drink cold throughout the morning. Pre-roasted Boricha is available in every Korean grocery store in teabag format. This is one of the most convenient Korean traditional drinks to prepare. Timing. Summary. Omija tea fasted immediately after waking, before your morning meal. Hawthorn tea with or immediately after your morning meal. Boricha throughout the morning as primary hydration, anytime. Do not take Omija tea and hawthorn tea together simultaneously on an empty stomach. Sequence matters. Omija first, fasted, hawthorn with food. Timing. Flexibility. Note, the optimal window for Omija tea is within 30 minutes of waking in a fasted state. An acceptable alternative window is mid-morning, at least 90 minutes after your morning meal. This reduces lignin absorption slightly, but remains effective. What is lost outside the fasted morning window is the clean absorption signal that fasting provides. Do not take Omija tea in the evening. The cortisol awakening response window that this protocol is designed to work alongside is tied to your wake time, not clock time. Night owls. This applies to you based on when you wake, not based on 6 a.m. If you wake at 10 a.m., your cortisol awakening response peaks around 10:30 a.m. Take Omija tea at wake time, not at 6 a.m. Contraindications. Read this section. Before starting, Omija, Shisandra, is a CYP3A4 inhibitor. This means it affects how your liver processes certain medications, including warfarin, many statins, and some calcium channel blockers. If you are on any of these medications, consult your prescribing physician before adding Omija to your daily routine. This is not a theoretical concern. CYP3. A4 inhibition can change effective drug levels meaningfully. Korean hawthorn digoxin interaction is a hard contraindication, as noted above. Thyroid patients on thyroid hormone medications. The interaction between Omija and thyroid medications is incompletely studied. Consult your endocrinologist before beginning this protocol. Pregnancy. Do not use Omija during pregnancy. Schisandra has uterine stimulant properties documented in the literature. For metformin users, this protocol does not create an additive glucose-lowering risk at standard doses, but monitor your fasting glucose for the first 2 weeks if you add this protocol to an existing metformin regimen. AMPK timeline. What to expect? Measurable improvements in glucose handling and insulin sensitivity from AMPK activation typically appear within 4 to 12 weeks of consistent activation based on PMID 28292773. Do not evaluate this protocol at day 3 or day 7. The human RCT for Omija ran 12 weeks. Commit to the full window before drawing conclusions. Mistake 1. Using Saigon cinnamon in your morning drink. This one is urgent. Multiple wellness channels, including high-traffic competitors, recommend adding cinnamon to morning coffee or tea for metabolic benefits without specifying which cinnamon species to use. Saigon cinnamon is cassia cinnamon, and it contains between 6,000 and 12,000 milligrams per kilogram of coumarin, the highest of all cinnamon species, published at PMID 236-27682. At half a teaspoon of Saigon cinnamon per day, you can exceed the safe daily coumarin limit established by European food safety authorities. For the 55-plus demographic watching this video, especially those on warfarin or other anticoagulants daily, Saigon cinnamon is not a minor issue. Coumarin potentiates anticoagulant effects and is hepatotoxic at elevated intake. If you have been adding Saigon cinnamon to your morning drink daily, stop. If you want cinnamon, specifically use Ceylon cinnamon, which contains roughly 250 milligrams per kilogram of coumarin, orders of magnitude lower. Better still, Omija tea provides metabolic support through a completely different pathway with no coumarin concern whatsoever. Mistake 2. Buying Omija products without checking preparation temperature. This is how most people destroy the primary benefit of Omija before it ever reaches their system. The majority of instant Omija powder products sold online include instructions saying to mix with hot water without specifying temperature. If the water is above 185 degrees Fahrenheit, 85 degrees Celsius, lignin degradation begins. Steep at 175 degrees Fahrenheit, 80 degrees Celsius. If you do not have a temperature-controlled kettle, bring water to a full boil and let it rest uncovered for 3 to 4 minutes before pouring. A kitchen thermometer costs less than $10 and removes all guesswork from this step. Mistake 3. Ignoring the CYP3A4 interaction. Omija is not a passive supplement. It is a CYP3A4 inhibitor, meaning it affects liver enzyme activity that governs how your body processes certain medications. The reason this mistake matters is that the 55-plus demographic is the most heavily medicated demographic in the viewing audience for this type of content. Statins, warfarin, calcium channel blockers, all processed by CYP3A4 or adjacent pathways. Adding a CYP3A4 inhibitor to a daily regimen without flagging it with a prescribing physician is not a minor omission. It is the kind of gap that no one mentions in wellness content and that shows up as an unexplained medication fluctuation months later. Consult your physician before starting Omija if you are on any of these medications. Mistake 4. Expecting results in the wrong time window. The Omija human RCT ran 12 weeks. 12. The highest engagement health content on this platform shows transformation in days. That is not how AMPK works. AMPK activation begins immediately, but the downstream metabolic changes, improved insulin sensitivity, measurable changes in visceral fat metabolism, glucose regulation improvements accumulate over weeks, not days. Based on the AMPK timeline literature, 4 weeks is the minimum meaningful evaluation window. 12 weeks is when the full effect is measurable. If you stop after 1 week because you do not feel different, you have not given the mechanism time to work. Consistency over the 12-week window is the entire protocol. These systems exist in you right now. AMPK is in your cells. GLUT for transport is in your skeletal muscle. The glucose regulation architecture that this morning drink is designed to support it is already there, waiting for the signal. The question is not whether your body can do this. It can. The question is whether you are giving it what it needs. 1 cup of Omija tea every morning, consistently. That is where it starts. Here is what we covered. Omija, the forgotten. Korean 5-flavor berry is the first traditional drink compound in published history to show confirmed measurable AMPK activation in the bloodstream in a placebo-controlled human trial. That trial ran 12 weeks at Jeonbuk National University. The PMID is 35956334. Look it up yourself. We covered 3 mechanisms: AMPK activation via schisandrin and gomycin ligands, the dual GLUT4 and GLUT2, glucose transport system from Black Ginseng Research, and the upstream sestrin-2 pathway from Korean ginsenoside research. We covered a 3-component morning protocol: Omija tea fasted, hawthorn tea with food, boricha for hydration. And we covered the 4 mistakes that keep this from working, including the Saigon cinnamon coumarin risk that no one in the current wellness conversation is addressing. If this information was useful to you, share it with someone who needs it, not for the channel for them. The people most affected by insulin resistance and visceral fat accumulation after 50 are the people least likely to find this research on their own. If you want to be notified when the next Korean longevity research breakdown goes up, subscribe. The next video covers something that affects every adult over 55 and is almost never discussed in Western preventive care. What Korean medicine calls the morning window for vascular repair and the specific hawthorn and Omija combination that Korean cardiologists have studied for arterial wall elasticity. It is not what you have heard before. I'm Dr. Sarah Kim. I'll see you in the next one.